Most people who stop at a gas station, a motel, a roadside store at 2 in the morning, they just need fuel, or sleep, or a bottle of water and 20 minutes off the highway. They pull in, they do what they came to do, and they drive away, and nothing follows them home. Most people. Tonight you are going to hear two accounts from two different people who stopped somewhere they probably shouldn't have. None of them were looking for anything unusual. None of them asked for what found them. They were just tired. And tired people make decisions they wouldn't otherwise make. The road forgives a lot of things. This is not a story about the things it forgives. Story 1, The Last Guest. My name is Caleb. I'm 34 years old. I've been a long-haul truck driver for 11 years. In that time, I have seen plenty of strange things on the road. Animals crossing at 3 in the morning, abandoned cars with the doors left wide open, hitchhikers standing in the rain 10 miles from the nearest town. You develop a tolerance for the bizarre when you spend that much time alone on empty roads. You learn to rationalize. You learn to keep driving. But there is one night I cannot rationalize, no matter how many times I have tried. It was late October. I was hauling industrial equipment from Ohio to Tennessee, badly behind schedule because of a storm that had torn through Kentucky for most of the night. By the time the rain cleared, it was past midnight. I was running on 4 hours of sleep and 2 gas station coffees that had stopped working hours ago. My eyes were doing that thing. Every truck driver knows exactly what I mean. That slow, involuntary drift. Your eyelids get heavy in a way that feels almost reasonable, almost logical, like your brain is quietly negotiating with you. Just close them for a second. You'll be fine. I pulled off at the next exit I saw. The sign read, Pineview Rest Stop, rooms available, 2 miles. The road leading to it was narrow and completely unlit, flanked on both sides by tall pine trees that pressed in so close, the branches nearly touched overhead. It felt less like a road and more like a passage, something cut through the dark just wide enough for one vehicle. I almost turned around twice, but I was exhausted, and exhaustion has its own terrible logic. The building came into view slowly, like it was reluctant to be seen. Low, long, weathered wood siding, a neon vacancy sign buzzing in the window, a porch light that flickered every few seconds in a rhythm that almost felt deliberate. The parking lot was gravel. My tires crunched when I pulled in. There were no other vehicles, not a single one. I told myself that was fine. Tuesday night, middle of nowhere. Of course no one else was there. I was wrong to tell myself that. Inside the front of the building was a small general store. Canned goods, water, basic supplies. The kind of place that exists for people passing through rather than people who stay. Behind the counter sat a woman, late 60s, thin in a way that didn't look like health, more like something slow had been taking pieces of her for a long time. White hair pinned loosely, a floral blouse that belonged to a different decade entirely. She looked up when I walked in, and she smiled at me. And I want to be very precise about that smile, because it is the detail that still bothers me most when I think about this night. It was a perfectly normal smile, warm even, but her eyes didn't move with it. They stayed completely still, fixed on me, the way a camera lens stays fixed even when everything around it shifts. She gave me a key without asking my name or ID, room 7, said it was the quietest one. I paid $60 in cash and walked down a covered walkway to the room at the end. Room 7 was small but clean. A bed, a nightstand, a lamp, a small bathroom. The window faced the tree line, which was close, maybe 30 feet away. The trees were dense and dark, and the wind moved through them in slow, deep waves, like they were breathing. I fell asleep almost immediately. The deep, heavy sleep of genuine exhaustion. I don't know what woke me. It wasn't a sound. It was more like a pressure, a sudden, wordless awareness that something in the room had changed. You know that feeling. Every human being knows it. It is older than language, older than thought. Something is here that was not here before. There was a pale blue glow coming from under the bathroom door. I had not left the bathroom light on. I got up and opened the door. The bathroom was empty. The light was not coming from a bulb or a fixture. The mirror itself was emitting it, pale, cold, perfectly even, like a screen left face up in a dark room. And in the mirror, behind my own reflection, was a figure. No emotion, state it like a fact. 7 feet tall, impossibly thin. The proportions were wrong, assembled from memory rather than from life. Its face was pale and long, and where the eyes should have been, there were 2 areas of pure darkness, like holes. It was not looking at my reflection. It was looking at me. I could not scream. The air had left my body completely. Something cold and absolute had locked every part of me in place. I have never felt fear the way I felt it in that moment. Not the sharp electric fear of a car accident, but something older and slower and far worse. The kind of fear that doesn't want you to run, the kind that wants you to stay and look. Then it moved, not toward me exactly. A slow lateral drift, like something moving through deep water. And as it moved, I felt something change inside my own mind, like a hand reaching into the back of my head and slowly turning something, like a dial being adjusted. And a thought came from somewhere that was not mine, clear, calm, patient. Come outside. I've been waiting a long time. I slammed the bathroom door, grabbed my keys, my wallet, my phone, my jacket, climbed out the window without making a sound, crossed the gravel lot without looking back, started my truck and drove. I did not stop for 2 hours. When I got home, I searched for the Pineview rest stop. It had closed in 2019. The owner, a woman named Margaret Hollis, had been found deceased behind the front counter, fully dressed, seated in what the coroner described as a composed and deliberate position. The building had been empty for over 3 years at the time of my visit. I have driven that route 4 times since. I have never seen that exit again. But some nights, on long, empty stretches of highway, when the cab goes quiet and the dark outside the windshield feels thicker than it should, I feel it again. That pressure, that shift, that thought from the wrong direction. I've been waiting a long time. I turn the radio up, I keep driving, and I try very hard not to wonder how long something like that is willing to wait. Story 2. The Last Pump. I'm a contractor. I fix things. I work with my hands and I deal in facts and measurements and things that have explanations. I want to say that first so you understand what it costs me to tell this story. About 8 months ago, I was coming back from a job site in eastern Kentucky. Long day. I stopped at a gas station off the highway around 11 at night. Small place. 1 pump still working, hand-lettered sign in the window. Bait, ice, firewood. The kind of stop that exists purely for people passing through. I filled my tank, went inside for a coffee. Behind the counter was an older man, maybe 60. Quiet. He nodded when I walked in. I poured my coffee, brought it to the register, looked up. He was staring at the window behind me. Not distracted, focused. The way you look at something specific, something you have been watching for a while. I turned around. At the edge of the light, right at the exact point where the gas station fluorescence ended and the dark began, there was a woman standing. Completely still, facing the building, facing us. I asked the man if she was all right, if she needed help. He didn't answer for a moment. Then he said very quietly, not afraid, just matter of fact, he said, "She has been there every night for 2 weeks." I looked at her again. She still hadn't moved, not even a small shift in weight, just standing there at the edge of the light with her face pointed toward us. I asked if he had called the police. He said he had, 3 times. He said, "They come out. They don't see anything. They leave. And then she comes back." I paid for my coffee. I walked to my truck. I told myself firmly that I was not going to look at her again. I looked. She had moved. Not by much. 1 step closer to the light, maybe 2. But now she wasn't facing the building. She was facing me. I got in the truck. I drove. About a mile down the highway, I realized I had been gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands had gone numb. I checked my mirrors. No headlights behind me. Empty road. Nothing. I let out a long breath. And then I looked in the rearview mirror again. There was a shape standing on the highway, in the dark, 1 mile from where I had left her. Completely still, facing my taillights. I did not stop. I did not slow down. I drove until I hit a town with streetlights and a 24-hour diner and other human beings, and I sat in that diner for 2 hours before I could make myself get back on the road. A few weeks later, I tried to look up that gas station on Google Maps. Couldn't find it. I drove that stretch of highway in the daytime a month after. There was an empty lot, old cracked concrete, weeds growing up through it, a rusted pump that hadn't worked in years, the kind of nothing that looks like it has been there for a very long time, way longer than 8 months. I have driven a lot of roads in my life. I have been in a lot of dark places late at night. I know what a working gas station looks like. I know what I stopped at that night. I just don't have a word for it.